Imagine getting pregnant and then instead of getting an abortion, you keep the baby, and then once the baby is born, you give it up for adoption. And then that same baby comes back looking for you once they get older.
You all, there's a conversation going on about adoption. And this woman is saying that why is it that when a child is being put out for adoption and later on in the years they want to know who their birth parent is, to start looking for their birth parent and all that. She's like, we've already put you out for adoption. Why are you coming to look for who your family or who really is your mother or who really is your father? That you're kind of, doing it all wrong. Let me show you the video.
Imagine getting pregnant and then instead of getting an abortion, you keep the baby, and then once the baby is born, you give it up for adoption. And then that same baby comes back looking for you once they get older. There has to be some type of non-disclosure agreement that they agreed to, but it seems like everybody who gets adopted always has, like, even when it's like a closed adoption, they're still able to find their parents. Baby, I gave you life, and I gave it to somebody that actually wanted you. That's the best I could do for you. Like, why are you looking for me? I did not get you taken from me. I willingly gave you away. Please do not come and find me. Like, I moved on with my life after I had you. I gave you life, and I gave you to some people that probably couldn't have kids, or somebody who desperately wanted another baby. Like, please do not come looking for me. Please. I gave you to your family. Do not come looking for me.
Yes, she sounded a little bit too insensitive. But then I want to know your thoughts about the video down in the comment section, because people that are reacting on this video were people that were adopted, and they were like they tried to reach out to their parents. One was saying, I tried to reach out to my parents and she was glad she did because she wanted to know where she was coming from, and now she's close to her grandparents. While another one was like, she's even going to therapy now because she tried to reach out to her parents, because it was not all what you expect. You don't expect because they put you out for adoption and years later you went to reach out to them, you expect them to embrace you. That it is always like, it's not always straightforward. Let me show you the video.
Closed adoption, they're still able to find their parents. Baby, I gave you life, and I gave it to somebody that actually wanted you. That's the best I could do for you. Like, why are you looking for me?
So I'm adopted, and I found this video very I'm not gonna lie, I found it very insensitive. The same with the comments. I want to say borderline disgusting, but I'm just gonna leave it right there. So I'm adopted. I reached out to my biological parents, and I found them when I was like about 13. My mom told me who they were the whole time. Like I've known I was adopted since before I can even remember. I remember like I was like around 3 or 4 when my mom was explaining it to me, and I wanted to meet my parents because I wanted to know why I was the way that I was. And I also found out I had two sisters, and I wanted to know them. I wanted to know who they were. I wanted to know where I got my singing abilities from, or how I was able to play the piano so well. And my parents, my adopted parents, they weren't like, they loved music, but they weren't very like musically inclined. Like my parents can't play like instruments or anything. So I want to know like where all these gifts came from that I had. My parents is definitely like nurture versus nature. My parents helped me and they molded me into who I was, but I wanted to know where my health problems were coming from because I did have health problems. I ended up having scoliosis. I had like a hormone imbalance, and we wanted to know where that was coming from, why I wasn't growing, what was going on with me. And so that helped me reaching out to them. And now I do know my sisters, and I love them so much. And I don't know, talk to somebody who's adopted or who's been through the foster care system before you make a very like insensitive video. And I get that's your thought process, but how about you think about how others feel before you get on the internet? And the comments were like deplorable. Like the comments were disgusting. We have a right to know. And they said that if you want to know that you're who your birth parents were, you're ungrateful. In the comments, I want to know who I came from, and there's nothing wrong with that. Um, I love my cousins. I love my aunt. I love my grandpa. Like I have a relationship with my grandparents, like my biological grandparents, that I never would have got a chance to have if I didn't take that leap to reach out. So talk to people before you make a disgusting video. and like actually like put yourself in other people's shoes. I think the thing with social media now is everybody's become desensitized. I'm not ungrateful for wanting to know my biological family. Now I got a whole extended family, and I love them. So they're a part of me. I'm a part of them, and it is what it is. Um, my adoptive family, they've been so supportive, my mom and my dad, and they're making an effort, and that's all that matters. And my experience is not everyone's experience. I've had my hardships with it. Trust me, therapy was my best friend for the longest time because that's a lot to deal with. That's an emotional anyways, but that's not everybody's experience. But like within her video, she said like that I willingly gave you up, so why would you want to come for me? That come like try to meet me. That's your responsibility. Like that's your burden to bear. You know what I'm saying? Like that has nothing to do with me. Like every kid has the right to know, but not every kid wants to know, and that's fine. Not I've seen some kids like grow up and they don't want to know who their biological parents are, and that's perfectly fine. Everybody is different, but don't blame the child for wanting to know where they come from. That's your burden.
And I gave it to somebody that actually wanted you. That's the best I could do for you. Like, why are you looking for me?
It's a very good thing that you are not a birth mother, because I would feel so badly for your child, and they would be your child. Hi, my name's Lauren. I'm a pre-birth matched infant adoptee. Once you bring a child into this world, you owe them answers, at the very least. It's disrespectful and just awful to not give answers to a child that comes looking for you and wants them. The adoptees crave those answers from the moment they know what the questions are. We're asked all the time about our real parents and we wonder where we come from. It's just cruel to not give answers to a child who's seeking them.
So there's a creator here on TikTok that has sparked quite the debate as it relates to adoptions. If a woman or a man and a woman have made the decision to put their child up for adoption, solely, especially in this current climate, these current laws where women in a lot of states don't even have the option to terminate a pregnancy, that they have to see the pregnancy through full term, give birth to the child, and ultimately give it up for adoption. She has sparked a lot of debate as to whether or not the children, when they become adults, should they go looking for their biological parent, i.e. the mother. And a lot of people, well, her stance is simply, if I gave you up for adoption and it's a closed adoption, why are you coming to look for me? That's her stance, which from a lot of people's perspective is very valid. You know, I didn't want you, so why would you 18, 20, 30 years down the line take the initiative to come look for me when I didn't want you? So there's a reason why the adoption is closed. Now, on the flip side of it, you have individuals that have been adopted that are stitching and responding to the video saying that it's disgusting for her to have that type of take, and that the comments on her video are disgusting because the mass majority of the commenters on her video agree with her stance and her take on it, which to a certain degree, I can say that I also agree with her take, as it's a closed adoption for a reason. So if you choose to take the steps to go and try to seek out who your biological parent or parents are, and they reject you, then what? Then is it now you take a step back and in hindsight be like, you know what, it was a closed adoption, I should have left well enough alone? Or do you still proceed with it and just be like, whatever happens, happens, but now you've interrupted the life of the person that gave you up in a closed adoption and never wanted to see you beyond birth? My question is, who's right and who's wrong in this type of scenario? If someone puts their child up for adoption, a closed adoption, is it fair for the child when they become of age to go and seek out that parent or those parents when it's a closed adoption? Y'all drop in the comments and let me know y'all take on it. Let's talk about it.
You keep the baby, and then Once the baby is born, you give it up for adoption. And then that same baby comes back looking for you once they get older.
As someone who was adopted, that was the worst mistake I ever did in my life, was going to go find my biological parents. Listen, um, my mom had 5 kids repoed. She did. I was the second one. She had me at 17, she had my sister at 15, and then she had the 3 boys later on, and we were all repossessed. Now, um, if you know how the foster care system works, you're put in foster care. If you're with the same family for at least 4 years, they have the option to adopt you. My adoptive mother did great. She told us who we were, where we came from. We know who our parents. She even had a picture of my mom holding me as a baby. And I mean, it just makes you curious. Now, I know she wasn't talking about my situation, like people that actually was just like, oh, I'm going to give the baby up for adoption, not the ones that got repoed. But as a baby that got repoed and is now grown, went through the process of finding them, and like literally like ripped off the band-aid by doing so. If you are adopted, if you're not ready for who your parents truly are, case in point, me. I had created this whole scenario in my head as a child of who I thought my parents were going to be. They were not that. Total opposite. Now, were they just like these terrible, terrible people? No. They just aren't parents. My mother, she has no motherly bone in her body. But let me tell you something what's funny. Not really funny, but it's like a whole generational curse. So my brother, who went missing a few years ago, is presumed dead. She got custody of his daughter. She's now raising her grandchild after not raising her 5 repossessed children. But anywho, that's another story for another day. I just want anyone that's thinking about reaching out, if you are not ready to accept your parents for who they truly are, and you're not ready to accept the fact that they did not or could not be parents, do not do it. I am having to start therapy. I found them at 16. I just turned 31. I'm having to start therapy because I traumatized myself again by choosing to want to know where I came from. It's not always good. Some people look up and their parents are accepting and they make up for all the last time. It's not always that case. So, tread lightly. I get what she's saying. I know we all want to know where we came from. It'll eventually start to come out. It'll eventually, like my mom always says, what's in you will eventually come out. You will know where you come from. Whether you choose to reach out and find them or not. But be very, very careful and protect yourself and be ready for what's to come when you do so. Yeah.
You keep the baby, and then once the baby is born, you give it up for adoption. And then that same baby comes back looking for you once they get older.
I feel like people always want to know where they are from when they get to a certain age, especially when they know that they were adopted. They always want to know. I feel like there's something in them that always want to be like, I want to find out my birth parents. Well, I already want to know where I'm from at least. Let me know. Or probably if they have some sickness or some illness that they feel like is hereditary, they want to know where they are from. And I don't think it is a problem for you to want to find out where you're from, right? But then I kind of, understand what the last creator was saying, that even as much as you want to really know where you're from, you have to be ready for what you're going to face. Because imagine you're having a parent like this creator that's saying that don't reach out to me, don't come and look for me, don't come and look for me, and all of that. And you've always wanted to meet your mom, and you finally found who she is, you meet up with her, and she's like, it's really going to affect you in a very big way. So if you're really trying to find out who your best parent was, you have to be ready for either they accept you or not. Because for them to put you out for adoption, some of the time they don't want you as a child. They do not want you. Some people actually want the child, but because they cannot afford the child, they let the child go, right? So people put up child for adoption for different and personal reasons that we do not know. And you do not know the kind of reasons that your birth parents must have put you out for adoption. So some of them might put you out for adoption because they couldn't abort you and they never wanted a child to start with. So you coming to meet them later on and be like, oh, it's like, why are you coming to meet me? I never want you as a child. And in fact, when you're in my tummy, I didn't feel a thing. So why are you coming to meet me? I don't want you as a child. Go and meet your family or something. Or some people will actually be very grateful that you reach out to them. In fact, probably they must be have been missing you all along and they wish one day they will reunite with you and all of that. So I feel like it depends. So if you're trying to look for your best friend, you have to be ready for either they break your heart or they embrace your heart. Well, what do you guys think about this video? Let me know your thoughts about this video down in the comment section. Respectfully, as always, Sugar Mary David, and thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one, guys.